Grog.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Sideshed podcast. I'm Matthew Weir, and Kerry, I am a big fan of conspiracy theories. Roswell, aliens, hidden Area 51, flat Earth maybe, although we know it's not true. Stevie Wonder can see, he's just been making it up all this time. You have said in recent months that The Archers is no longer a radio novella. It is, in fact, a governmental psyop to test suspension of human belief and
Yeah.
see how much we can actually tolerate before we break. And I laughed, Kerry. Got to tell you,
Yeah.
after this week, I'm not laughing now.
How peculiar, because I quite enjoyed this week.
Okay,
We are different people, aren't we?
we are.
Yeah, I still stand by that though, but they have to let us have an all right week to keep us going. So it's all part of the experiment.
Okay, listen, early doors, out the traps, take a break, come back, tell me what you enjoyed about it.
Will do.
So was it the Verity Fete that got you all trousered up?
That was the worst thing of the whole week. The
Okay.
ferret fiesta together forever. That was absolutely appalling, abysmal. Don't like this sort of thing. You know, they're trying, the Grundys en masse, trying to sabotage the Fete and Linda. For what reason, really? To make it a ferrety fiesta. I can't tell you how little I care about any of that. Hate it, hate it, hate it. Why are they doing that? Please help me out.
I think you struck gold last week when you said it's always about money with the Grundys, isn't it?
Yeah, but taking over the whole bloody thing.
Are they the Wagner group of Ambridge? Have they turned their ferrety tanks towards Moscow?
Yeah, well, that went well, didn't it? That lasted all of 5 minutes.
Yes, it was as successful as Tom and Lee going down to have a word with Rob, wasn't it?
Yes, I don't want to hear about the fate. I don't want to hear about Eddie's scheme and Mia having her bright idea about sending Linda off to the library to research the fates of Ambridge and getting old photos and shit like that. Can't you just go do that online? Anyway, I don't know.
What kind of person delves into old information of Ambridge and then brings it up?
Not us. That's for sure.
Humphrey Littleton we heard about tonight, didn't we?
Oh, Humph and Cleo Lane.
I must admit I got slightly confused and I had Cleo Rockus in my head when I
I bet
heard
you
that.
did.
Yeah, it's very rarely she isn't there, to
Marvellous
be honest.
bosom. Yeah. Also, Eddie is so annoying. He was making a roast dinner only so that Clary would knit ferrets. I mean,
Well, we've said this before that Clary is slightly in a life of servitude to Eddie's ridiculous schemes.
slightly.
Well, the only thing that counterbalanced that was when it turned out he was inheriting something. When the pergola, did he inherit the pergola and then someone else got something better when Neil was building something?
Yeah. That was Susan, wasn't it? Like they got the car stuff.
Yeah, and those two went to. There seemed to be like a festival every day
Oh
around
yeah,
Ambridge, and they got caught on camera going to those things.
on a Wednesday or
So
something.
she's always dragged kind of reluctantly kicking and screaming, although not vocally, into these kind of schemes that he's got. But I feel now he's doing that en masse with the whole family. He's dragging them all into it. That was that bit where Linda said to him, "What about the white elephant?" And
Mia made a hilarious joke.
She did.
Oh dear, about it being some sort of endangered species.
And then Linda said, "Well, we expect you to be a polymath." And there
Yeah,
was a great bit from Will where he just went, "Okay, white elephant it is, I suppose."
yeah, yeah. When she said, "I need polymaths," he just went, "Huh?"
Is that like the polytunnels?
Yes,
Can the fish do multiplication now or what?
it's polytunnels, but with loads of numbers in. Um, but like Eddie, like right, okay. Imagine if you can knitting a ferret. Right, just try to imagine that, everybody. deep breaths through your nostrils. You're knitting a ferret. Now imagine someone making you knit a ferret. Yeah. And this the person who's making you knit a ferret
I'm
or
reaching for a drink.
hundreds or yeah, or hundreds of ferrets by the sound of it, also doesn't know how to make roast fucking potatoes
Yeah.
after however many years on the planet. What is he, 70 or something? I don't know.
Where is Borchester's Gulag?
I think he's running it, isn't he? But he was like going, "Oh, this is a potato. You have to peel it, then chop it into smaller pieces and boil it. That can't be right. They're roast potatoes." Even Will and Ed were sort of going, "Your pa boiled them to soften them up before he roast." So they've picked it up, but he hasn't.
This is like the
Mm.
scene from The Two Towers, the second Lord of the Rings movie, where Sam, in his West Country accent, is explaining to Gollum how you cook potatoes.
Potatoes. Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew.
Yeah. Speaking of strange pronunciations, have you noticed? I know that he's done this before, but this week Eddie said a word twice in a really weird way.
Oh, go on. No, I missed that.
Because. Did you hear that? Not
No, I
because,
didn't.
not cause, not because, because. No one else says that around him. Why does he say that?
And they're introducing new animals as well. It's not just ferrets.
Because.
Also, didn't Will say Linda smell a rat?
Well, Harrison will be looking after all of that soon, won't he? All those criminal animals.
It's going to be the Grundy Zoo, isn't it? White elephant, the rats,
Yeah, big horse.
the big horse, and a bunch of knitted ferrets.
Oh, I hate Eddie sometimes. A lot of the time I hate him.
I wouldn't say I hate him. He was hard to like this week. I've just got Harrison as a new wildlife officer, and he's sat in a detention room with a bunch of knitted ferrets going, "Well, it was one of you."
Yes.
And then him calling his, "Sorry, boss, they're not talking."
A week ago he didn't know what a buttercup was. Now he's like in charge of all animals in the county,
Yes.
isn't he? Oh, we'll get to that in a bit. But anyway, like the Fete and the Ferret Fiesta, Linda's sort of going, "Oh, why were there?" I can't do her voice today. I just can't get there. But
Because of my is it because of my reaction last week?
oh, I liked that. Yeah, but she's sitting in a room full of Grundys. The whole family are there, so she does suspect something's up, doesn't she? With Joy sitting in the middle of them.
Yeah.
So I would love for Linda, because she's not daft, is she, to just upend this whole silly scheme. I hope that happens.
And they end up with what? Like a ferret stall on the bypass. Harrison buying knitted ferrets for Fallon on his way home from a night shift.
Yeah, I don't know what they'll end up with if she goes, "Aha, I know what you're up to."
What if, what's the woman from the very well named Cell Charge? What's her name?
Oh, Lena Zavaroni.
Lena Zavaroni, that's it.
Yeah. Mama, he's making eyes at me.
I just imagine she'll just happen by the fate and be like, "Oh my God, these knitted ferrets are exactly what we need for the charging station."
I thought you were going to say she'll wander past the Fete, see what an insane setup it is. Like there's hundreds of stalls full of knitted ferrets.
She'll call head office and be like,
You go, "Get the fuck out of here."
"There's a shower of fucking freaks down here, mate."
Yes. But poor Clary is sitting there, like knitting her fingers to the bone. He did make good crackling though, so I might forgive him everything.
Well, let's hope it's not all for nothing. I mean, it's just dragged on all week in the background, doesn't it? And I get it. Like they have to have some light relief
Yeah.
as to compared to the heaviness of the other storyline. But it's like at this point, you're like, just get to the bloody fate. I don't want to hear about the conspiratorial build up to it.
No, I don't want to get to the Fate either. Really. Please.
Let's do drills.
Well, yes, the drill arrived. Stella was in raptures, wasn't she, about it resembling a butterfly opening its wings, and Brian just went, "I wouldn't go that far."
They are pretty impressive because the
Yeah.
the guy in the field
Not on
behind
the
my dad's
radio, they're
house.
not. To be
No, that's the problem, isn't it? I don't know. It's like like when those flick knives that you flick and like everything comes out. It looks like that. It goes out in
what, a
it
Swiss Army knife?
kind of concertinas out from the side. That's
Oh,
a
that's
terrible analogy. Sorry, it's not like a flick knife at all.
yeah, I'm now
It-
imagining sort of Ed driving a Swiss Army knife.
One arm goes out, and then another arm extends out from that, and then I think the drills go down, and they can till the soil. If it's the same thing that the guy next door to Dad's has got, that's what I've seen,
Mm.
and it it drills. There you
God,
go.
Matthew,
That's
don't
that.
don't give up the day job, love.
Well, I mean, I wanted to compete with someone who did a 2-minute explainer on disc drills.
Yeah, actually, well done. That's far preferable. Oh dear. But Brian, he wanted to get all over it. He was like, "Let me have a go." He wanted to jump in that cab, and Stella had to go, "No, no, no, no. You are incapable. You can't work a computer. Get away from that high-tech piece of equipment. You can't." He seemed to think you just sit in the cab and the flick knife will just do everything, and you
Yes.
just control it with your mind.
She was delighted when he buggered off back to the office, wasn't she?
I know. His tail was between his legs, and she even turned down his drinks, didn't she? To celebrate the thing that he was angry about her having bought.
Yeah, because she going out for a curry or ordering in with.
I think they went out for the curry, but then they were back together getting quite cozy, having wine after the curry, weren't they? Oh, it's the best curry house in Borsetshire, that
Which
one.
whose name I can't remember because Natasha has raved about that before, and I've forgotten what it's called. Well, important here, Ruth went
Mm,
home and left Pip and Stella
yeah.
alone.
Oh God.
It's
Yeah, they get
happening.
cozy, aren't they? I know, I know, I know. Swimming has been mentioned. They're going to be in the changing room at the Lido.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Why is it Pip? Why is it Pip? I love Stella. Why is she getting with one of the worst people in this village? Why? Ruth, that would be great because then it would blow David's brain. And Ruth is marginally less awful than Pip. Pip is just so horrific. Unless being with Stella makes Pip okay.
That was what I was going to say. It's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, let's not forget, Adam has been
She's not a
far
miracle worker.
improved by his relationship with Ian. Why are you laughing?
What on earth was he like before?
He just used to
God.
crawl around on all fours going, "Rrrr."
Will Stella getting off with Pip make Pip better? Is this actually going to be a thing?
I don't know. I think it could happen
Hmm.
because there's no way that this other woman from Florence is going to be breezed into the Archers. So all they've done is said,
Mm.
okay, Stella's into girls, and now she's
Yeah.
hanging out with Pip. Ruth is kind of the fixer in all this. By the way, what happened to Pip's lunatic ex girlfriend Lottie?
Yes, I know.
Maybe there's something to be done there where she walks in on Pip and Stella and gets very jealous.
That was an odd one because she was super intense, wasn't she, for about 2 episodes?
Yes,
And yeah, I've seen other people asking exactly this on the Twitters.
she showed up with all her bags packed to stay at the B&B for the night on the basis that her like
Mm.
9-year-old or 5-year-old or whatever Rosie is had
Yeah,
said, "Oh yes,
you can come and stay.
you can come and stay." Like you would check, wouldn't you?
I think so, yeah. You don't tend to do everything that a 5-year-old will tell you or whatever.
No, I mean there was that case many years
Mm.
ago in America, I think up in Nebraska, where the guy was bidding on like something similar to a seed drill or something like that on eBay, some
Mm.
farmer, and he went for a nap, and his like baby daughter got hold of the mouse and accidentally bid like 250,000, and he won the bid, and he woke up to find he'd just massively overpaid for a bit of farm equipment. And eBay, they didn't make him pay.
Oh, did they not? Okay.
No.
Oh, I'll have to try that when I've overbidded on some shite on eBay.
I reckon that's what Stella did, and she's kept it quiet. She fell asleep one night after she went into a twirl and red wine coma.
And Weaver bid for it.
Yeah, Weaver just kept on pressing bid.
Yeah, imagine she said, "Well, Brian, you're quite right. I shouldn't have bought it. My dog did."
You'll have to fire Weaver, I'm afraid. Wasn't me. And then like Weaver will be looking at like Adam and Stella. You gonna back me up here, Stella? Or not?
Yeah. Ruth invited Stella round for dinner, didn't she? Oh, why don't you come round? And said, David will be out, which was a nice incentive.
Selling point, wasn't
Yeah.
it?
She gave. I always want to hear, what has Ruth cooked for dinner? She's invited someone. She did say it's not going to be anything special. I thought, what's it going to be? What's going to be? Oh, the only hint we got was they cleared up bowls. So what do you think? What was it? Dog food?
Well, it's a well-known fact that Jill eats only dog food off the floor these days.
Yeah.
I reckon, lazily, pasta.
And it'll be a bloody jar. I bet it's pasta pesto or something like that.
And then at the end of the evening, she made a bunch of coffees and a chamomile for Jill.
And she doesn't want her ever to give up baking. Did you hear that?
No, I know, but then there's the fun side of things, which is the next night, it's Pip and Stella kicking back with a glass of wine without Mum around.
Oh, when are they going to actually get it on?
Don't know, but I feel it's coming.
Yeah, something's coming. Poor Stella. I don't want to wish this upon her. Oh dear.
There was that moment where they were trying to tell her, "Don't be so hard on Adam."
Oh.
I was just listening, not tweeting, and I just opened up Twitter and went, "Don't listen to them." That was the only tweet I put.
That was it. Yeah, because they said, he's really rubbed her up the wrong way. That's not like Adam. Are you actually insane?
Is it possible for Adam to rub someone up the wrong way? I just want your opinion, Kerry, as an unbiased person coming into this.
I can scientifically say that Adam does rub a lot of people up the wrong way, and that Stella and Pip would perhaps rub each other up the right way. Do you reckon? Will David be all right about all of that? Because he's a right old fossil, really, isn't he? About Pip and Stella, is he homophobic?
No, I don't think so, because they're all fine with Rory, aren't they? We have to imagine that Brookfield is a bit of a broader church. I mean, David is always cast as the curmudgeon, isn't he?
Yeah.
That has to be dragged into the modern world. And he plays up to that as well. He says it himself quite a lot, doesn't he? But I think he would just be happy as long as he...
Oh, fucking hell. Well, yeah, great.
I'll have to edit that out. Maybe just leave that in for Patreon.
Yeah. Oh, just bleep out the names. They might think it's Weaver.
Well, we did say last week that Ruth. You said Ruth would be so devastated by the fact she was having an affair with the guy who had invited her to the conference that she would actually have sex with Stella, and then Weaver would come in and he could join in.
I think anything goes, really, and if people don't like it, they can piss off.
I mean, my big wish for this is Brian is going to have a go on the drill one day while Adam's inspecting it, and he's going to accidentally drill Adam's head.
It's not an actual bloody drill. I mean, that's a good image. I quite like the image of Adam's head being drilled. But I was hoping, because Ed was on the tractor, wasn't he, that Ed would just sort of hitch up the drill thing and just sort of career off into the am or into a car passing by, and it would just be wiped out instantly.
Yeah, it would be great, wouldn't it? It's like whenever you see these really excessive billionaires that spend loads of money on these projects and then they take off and immediately crash.
Yes. Yeah, that is Schadenfreude, and I like it.
But we wouldn't want that to happen for Stella's sake, would we?
Well, it wouldn't be her fault, would it? If Ed drove the drill into a bloody coach full of people going by or something.
I got a funny feeling Brian and Adam would make it her fault somehow.
Oh, God, arseholes.
Maybe Adam will get behind the wheel. Oh, come on. How hard can it be? Oh my God, I'm heading towards the river.
As long as they don't kill Rex, that's fine on his boat.
No, he's all right. He's way upstream.
Where is he? I like Rex.
Well, could the drill turn up at the charging station to charge and then open its flick knife-like wings and
Like
destroy
a butterfly.
everything? Yeah.
Yeah, I liked how Justin said, "Here's the source of all the aggro," and I was like, "Aggro culture."
Very good. Didn't he also say old codgers?
Yes, he did, and also Stella, when she was telling Brian, "You can't get on there. You need your ISO butt plug."
Well, I'm never without mine, Kerry. I'm wearing it right now.
No wonder Brian shuffled off.
Did you hear the movie reference, the very topical movie reference that he made?
Who made it?
Brian, when Justin asked him a question about what the seed drill does.
Oh God, you and your bloody movie references. Give me a clue.
Well, it's just won an Oscar as far as I know.
Oh, that doesn't narrow it down at all. No, sorry.
Justin said,
Mm.
"What does it do?" And Brian said, "Everything everywhere all at once."
He did not. That's got to be a script writer's game where they have to get a film title in each week or something.
Yeah, that's funny because last night I stayed up late and watched ISO Butt Plug. It's a wonderful German production from 1987.
Does it feature two lesbians?
If we cut out the first bit, this bit won't make sense.
We can't cut out all of that. We've got to listen out for the film that's in next week's. Was there a film last week? This must be.
I don't know. I mean, there is a very old film called Persecuting Bats.
Yeah, that list of the crimes of wildlife was good, wasn't it?
Isn't there already a superhero vigilante in Gotham that has that position tied up for the persecution
Batman.
of bats? Yeah.
So there was poaching, killing birds of prey, hare coursing, persecuting bats, and sheep worrying.
Yes. Well, that's Eddie f***ed.
Yeah, exactly. That's the Grundys up the Swanee, isn't it? But Harrison won't notice, of course, so that's fine. He'll just be sort of blithely going around going, "Oh, there's a lovely thrush over there," singing its head off. I'm right enjoying having fewer hours and hardly any money and not worrying about nutters in messy flats.
I was literally waiting for him to go, "I'm just joking, love. That job doesn't exist."
Yeah, she's really clenching her teeth and going, We'll manage. She's not wildly keen, but knows she has to sort of be supportive, isn't she? This is also, by the way, he decided upon a bit of a career change, spotted an advert for a job, got an interview for it within about 7 days.
Yeah, I mean, it's not quite realistic, is it, Kerry? Is that your criticism?
Yeah.
Why did the sheep call the police?
Oh, does it have "ba" in it? Let's think. Why did it? Because don't know.
I don't know either. I was literally asking you, Kerry. I think, well, the only thing I can think is because it had been fleeced.
Oh yeah, good. Yep, love that.
Fallon's going to come down at 3 in the morning and he's going to be sat at the computer and she's like, "Love, are you okay, love? What's wrong?" He's like, I just can't figure out why this chicken crossed the road, love."
Have you not, like, wildlife crime officer? In my mind, it makes me think wildlife are doing crimes. So I just have in my mind foxes with sort of stripy tops on carrying swag and badgers doing burglaries. And do you know what I mean? It's like, also, we don't hear much about wildlife crime in and around Ambridge, do we?
Maybe not enough.
A tiny bit. Like back in the day, there was a bit of Eddie would do his poaching. I haven't heard much about that recently.
There is a shocking amount of raptors being killed by people that want to have grouse shooting on their land.
Raptors.
Reintroduced birds of prey are being killed and poisoned by gamekeepers all over the
you talk about
country.
Jurassic bloody Park.
No, I had a Jurassic Park moment earlier. Actually, I was walking
Jurassic
through.
Park.
I was walking through a kind of a country lane in Portugal, and a bunch of swallows came very low through this lane,
Oh.
and one of them went through my legs. I just paused in
No.
in an A position, and they were so low. One went through my legs. Yeah, it was
Stop
awesome.
it.
Yeah, it's true.
You ought to go to the Verity Fun Fete as a bit of a sort of, like they used to have those motorcycle people in a tower on a motorbike.
Go on, Kerry. I don't know where you're going with this, but go on.
You know the motorcycle display teams? You could just sort of stand while swallows sort of swoop in and around you. Maybe on a motorcycle as well. You're a Fete attraction, I think, with birds flying through your open legs.
Well, I mean, it's only ever happened the once, Kerry. I've been on this earth, almost half a century. So
No, I'm now imagining you standing at the Fete with your legs apart,
come on, you
for it to happen,
bastards.
waiting for it to happen again.
Yeah, it was a bit of a one-off. I literally couldn't
Oh.
believe it. They came around the corner of this dry stone wall. I was like,
Mm.
oh my God. Because I know that swifts and swallows have a tendency to bang into people when they're kind of a bit excitable. And it just kind of, at the last minute, it did this kind of almost Formula One start, left to the right and then it through the legs. I was very impressed.
Oh, nice. Very good. Like the red arrows sort of thing. If you heard a sound then, it was my Craig David coaster sticking to the bottom of my wine
Okay.
glass. And
Is that what you plan to be doing on Friday?
What, Craig David coaster?
Well, that's his song, isn't it? I was going to be Kerry's coaster on Friday.
Oh, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, Craig
Very
David,
good.
he claims his career was ruined by
Yeah, what's his face?
Bo Selector guy.
Yeah.
Because he said, I mean, it was quite funny, the character he
was.
initially played, because it was just
Yeah.
him with Kez
Yes.
and a colostomy bag. I mean,
I
it's
know.
pretty niche, isn't it?
I mean, I loved Craig David before that. I loved that. And I loved Craig David after that. I've seen him live. Bloody great.
The first time I ever knew about him,
Mm.
when he was featured in that song before he'd even released any solo material. What was that
What?
band from Southampton called? And Craig David featured in it.
Goldie Looking Jane
No.
is what sprung to mind.
No. I tell you what, Kerry.
Oh, no,
you're
they're
gonna
Bristol,
upset.
aren't they?
They're not Bristol. They're Welsh,
Oh,
pretending to be
alright,
Bristol.
don't
And
shout.
Goldie Looking Chain can fucking do one, because I've got
Ooh.
friends. No, because I've got friends that were in a really good band from Bristol
Yeah.
that rapped in West Country accents, and Goldie Looking Chain ripped them off like
Oh no, not rap ripping.
rap ripping.
I'm sorry I brought that up.
Oh, it's all right. It wasn't my, but but
I don't know which band you mean from Southampton who mentioned Craig David.
oh, okay. I'm gonna have to find out now, because that's gonna bug me. It's the one where it went with Craig David all over your boing.
Doing. I
Yeah.
thought that was just him.
He was featured on it, and that was the first time I heard his name.
He's really great live though. All you haters.
The Artful Dodger, and the song was called Rewind.
Well, I just thought that was one of his songs.
No, they were from Southampton, weren't they? Because he's from Southampton.
Yes.
Which should
Anyway,
tell you, and
we've
that's where
slightly
Rob
digressed.
lives.
Is it not?
Yeah, you just pissed all over my segue.
Segway fail. Also, buy Hitler nappies.
Let's go to the Leper Chapel.
I was there in September.
Why?
Yeah, because I was just walking around Gloucester with my family.
Is it a nice little park? Hillside Park or something, was it?
Hillfield Park.
Hillfield, yeah.
Yeah,
Can you
yeah,
imagine Lee and Rob sitting near the Leper Chapel, having been to it, looking at the swings and what have you?
He played Lee brilliantly, didn't he?
Like a fucking fiddle.
At some points, it reminded me of when the spirit of jazz overtakes Howard Moon.
Oh, I love Howard Moon so much.
I'm gonna wear you like a glove. I'm gonna crawl inside you like a warm kitty. I've been inside them all. John Coltrane, Miles Davis. I even been inside Steve Davis. That was a mistake.
I love the Mighty Boosh. They're sort of a bit uncool now. The pendulum has swung, hasn't it? Where it's like, oh, no, they're really good.
Yeah, the hipsters have all grown up.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, Rob, he was played very, very well, wasn't he? The actor who plays Rob is great. Very, very good
Amazing.
indeed. Totally gripping. I listened to it twice this evening. And Lee is a silly little fool who has revealed, like a baby, Jack and Henry go to the Borsetshire Leisure Centre and do gymnastics. I'm surprised that Rob didn't go, what day and time is the class?
Yes,
Well,
exactly.
it's really convenient for me because it's sort of when I go to Mr. Wen's Chinese and it's every Tuesday about between 4 and 5. It was annoying that Lee is such an idiot because he's too nice, obviously, far too nice because he stayed with Helen so long, by the way. And then he sort of started off by going, "Are you okay?" And Rob went, "What do you mean?" "Oh, the hospital and your siege." "Oh, that. Yes, thank you for reminding me."
Yeah, thank you. I totally forgot that thing I made up.
Completely forgot, yeah. And then Rob mentioned the trauma he'd been through with Helen, genius script writing. And Lee at least said, "Well, I think Helen went through quite a lot of trauma with you." And I thought, oh, he might stir Rob into some sort of tizzy here, but he didn't.
Rob said, well, that's all in the past, didn't he?
Yes, don't rake over old coals, blah, blah, blah. And then anyway, I wanted to apologise for everything. So manipulative, superficially nice. And then went, have you got any kids? He probably knew anyway. Like someone pointed out on Twitter, he will have checked out stuff on social media. I bet Lee's put pictures of.
Yeah, Lee doesn't seem the kind of person who'd lock his Facebook.
Nope. He definitely is the sort of person who is on Facebook.
Big up respect to everyone who's member of the
Who
Cider
follows
Shed
us on
podcast
Facebook.
Facebook, by the way.
Yeah, sorry about that. Having irrational hatred of that place. But anyway. And yeah, then he sort of said, both boys go to Borsetshire Leisure Centre to do gymnastics. So all he has to do is look on that website, look when those classes are. He's going to turn up, isn't he?
I thought the most disturbing thing was at the end where he said Jack just copies what Henry does and he just
The bruises.
bruises. Yeah.
Yes.
And Rob went, yes, I bet.
I bet he's got the bruises to show it, hasn't he? He mentioned bruises. I tweeted about that and said, why has he pointed that out? It's a rhetorical question. He's done that on purpose, hasn't he?
Yep. Fantastic twist of the acting, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. So he can imply that his boy is getting bruises in the care of those two.
And then Rob's got inside Lee's head, isn't he? Because he's driving home.
Yeah.
And suddenly he starts thinking about his kids and he comes home and breaks down and starts crying. If anything, Helen is the one now who's like, just go there, deal with it. It'll be fine. And then she sends Lee and Lee just turns into a blubbering wreck. And he's just going to play them off against each other now, isn't he?
Yeah. Divide and conquer, isn't it, as well? Get Lee out of the picture.
I thought Lee was going to come through the door and say, do you know, I've been thinking, and I think maybe you should give him access to Gideon. It's unfair, Helen.
Yeah, so did I. When he said, what it's made me think is, yeah, exactly that. I thought he was going to say, it's made me realise he's apart from his children, like I'm apart from mine, and it isn't a good thing. But instead, he just went, I need to change my flight. Late summer, early September. What's the time? And he went 5 o'clock. Right, I'm off now. Thank you. Or do you think Rob will use the fact that he knows that Lee's got kids in America to make him that criminal thing more powerful?
Well, that occurred to me because he now knows that he can pull a string and Lee can't see his kids, which we've talked about.
Yeah, but now for sure he's realised they are in the States. If he didn't already know that on social
I thought they were
media.
almost going to kiss at the end of it. The only thing I thought might happen at the end was like Lee was going to say, "Okay, I better be off now. There's just one more thing, Lee. The Marvel Cinematic Universe ruined the Spider-Man movies."
And he will go, no.
Roundhouse kick his crotch back into his own body.
Rob is a very, very clever, nasty, nasty man. And Lee has just fallen into that Venus flytrap.
It was kind of doing my nut in listening to it, and in as much as I was enjoying it at the same time. Oh, I've gone a bit Justin. Hang on.
Oh, you have, haven't you? Get a lozenge.
Or a shot of Havana Club.
Oh, yeah, that's better. Oh, God, I'm on the Pinot Grigio. Ugh. I'm not a white wine woman.
Why are you doing that?
It's all that's in the house, Matthew.
No, are you kidding?
Yeah, I'm not kidding.
That's a shame.
I would never kid about such a thing.
That's why you have kids, isn't it? To send them to the threshers for the
To the offie. We ain't got no.
Does threshers still exist?
Oh, they don't, because there used to be one in Kemp Town village, and they were taken over by somebody. But we've got a nice corner shop, and Southover Wines on Southover Street is a brilliant off license. It's one of those where it's higgledy-piggledy full of strange beers and wines and spirits, and sort of sometimes has little knockoff sections where you'll get a set of saucepans and stuff for no reason.
Kerry, there is a little bit of a hot mess we need to deal with at the end of this podcast, but I suggest we take a break and then we come back.
Is it to do with Hitler nappies?
It could be.
Okay.
Hitler Nappies, brought to you by Schaefer Bass.
Warning, Hitler nappies do not successfully hold shit. They are non-biodegradable and have also been known to explode.
Now, as algorithms go, God knows what ad, if some of you are getting ads, some of you aren't, what you got for Hitler nappies there. Well, let's just clear this up. Tom and Natasha paid the bill with the Hitler nappies money. So it wasn't Rob. So that part of the storyline is gone.
Yeah.
A little bit of house cleaning here. Ed is going to recite Dross lyrics at the wedding.
I forgot about that. Oh my God. What are those sorts of lyrics going to be?
Yeah, okay. I just wanted to welcome Tracy and Jazza here today. I've known them a long time, and here's a couple of words I've prepared. Ketamine, I'm in a ditch. There's a sheep licking my face, and there's a bunch of bramblers looking at me.
I'd buy that, to be honest.
That was pure improv, by the way.
Well done, Matthew. Oh my God. I was thinking of my bedroom's a mess. I can't get any girls.
Why are all of these Justin? Or Kirsty or Sean Dyche?
Oh God. Yeah. And he's like going, Eddie was sort of going, oh, you'll be all right. Because he's afraid, isn't he, that Jim is going to be quoting loads of clever words and texts and what have you.
Yeah, he's going to express himself in words.
Yeah, yes. I'll just say a few gags, make him laugh. It'll be fine. I'm quite looking forward to this mess.
Well, I hope we hear it.
Well, yeah. Oh, God. Yeah, the budgetary constraints are telling us that we probably won't.
I will be pissed to the shithouse if we don't hear this wedding. Because we didn't hear the stag, did we?
No, that reminds me of a horrible thing that Eddie said as well. Another reason that I hate him is that Clary was having trouble stressing about what to wear to the wedding. This was on Sunday, and Eddie went, as if anyone's going to care. Oh, you awful man. You should care and take an interest in your woman's stressing about how she's looking in life. She's probably insecure and you're a twat.
Is Eddie ground zero for toxic masculinity in Ambridge?
That's a very good question. Yes, probably. Yeah. I
Mm.
can't think of anything that takes him above that, can you?
He is incredibly selfish, isn't he? I'm
Yep.
struggling more and more to think of things that he does for other people that don't have an ulterior motive.
Exactly. He only ever does those things to get himself out of a scrape or to butter someone up who he's pissed off,
Yeah.
doesn't he? Really nasty piece of work he is sometimes.
Kerry, you're going to have to guide me through what happened at the fact that they are bringing a new character into the Archers, and it was so important that they had to have a meeting at the town hall to present the new character. So Evie charging station, which might possibly be Lee's daughter. I mean, all I'm going to say about that entire meeting was Mia is dead to me because she heckled Jim.
She did not only that, but the hypocritical little twat with the whiny voice happily took a lift in Eddie's car, which is an evil gas guzzling vehicle. Didn't she?
Now, I kind of disagree with that premise because
Okay.
that's kind of like saying you can't oppose capitalism if you live in the capitalist world. I think you can.
Yeah. She
do
should be
that.
living in a place that has no electricity.
Okay.
No. No power generated at all by the national grid.
Yeah, I mean, for anyone that wants to see this displayed wonderfully, and I'm not saying this is what Kerry just did because it isn't, but have you ever seen Louise Mensch completely decimated
God.
by the panel of Have I Got News for You? Because she said that what was the massive you remember the massive protest years ago about the way that the banks had basically ruined everyone's lives? What was it? Stop Wall
Ooh.
Street or whatever it was. When they all camped out outside, they were going to camp outside the banks, and then the Archbishop said they could camp outside the church.
Yes, they were outside the Bank of England, weren't they?
Yeah, and Louise Mensch went on Have I Got News for You? You could tell she'd been in the mirror at home going, I'm going to say this really funny thing about how they've got iPhones and they buy Starbucks coffee. And she went on there and said it, and she got totally fucking destroyed in 2 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, oh God, you've just reminded me. This doesn't need to go in, but
10 part of the podcast has been removed.
So Louise Mensch is a
yep, true. But Lena Zavaroni, who was at the meeting and sounded very much like Stella, I thought initially, oh, she's got the lovely strength of voice of Stella.
Be funny if it was Stella in a disguise.
Yeah, she did speak a little bit like a pamphlet initially. I am reading from not just a script, but a scripted information booklet. But then she lightened up a little bit. Cell Charge is the name of the company. That was funny. And any sort of made up name of that kind in a soap docudrama is amusing, isn't it? But they had to think, right, what are we going to call this? Cell Charge. That sounds good. Jim, bless him, he appeared and sort of he made a point of saying he was a professor. That was funny. And that he'd prepared a small speech. And she cleverly said, you speak first, Jim. Please feel free. Professor, called him by that, wooed him. Because I'd really love to hear your side of things. And then he regretted that later, didn't he?
Yeah, she waited for him.
And then went pow, pow, pow.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Mia was, I find her quite annoying. She was going, oh, my militant friends aren't here. Well, you should see them. They do all sorts of stuff like glue themselves to things, and they're really sort of wild, but they couldn't be asked to turn up.
Yeah. They're coming to Ambridge next week. They're called Just Stop Soup.
Oh, that'd be good.
Glue themselves to Pat.
Pat chat.
Justin cleared his throat on the microphone and it made no difference. That was interesting.
Yeah.
And Jim began his speech saying he's not opposed to EVs. And Mia went, how come you drive that gas guzzling Riley then?
Dead to me.
Yeah, awful. And he just went on eloquently to say it's the location that bothers him, the amount of traffic, the silent chrome killers knocking down the hapless pedestrians such as Jazza.
I could hear Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds kicking in after that. The silent. Yeah. The last time that was heard on the Archers about 4 years ago. Can you remember the context?
Oh God, you twat!
Who busted?
I do remember that
There's no
happening.
There's no need for that, Kerry.
No, it's a loving insult, but it's exactly not the kind of thing I can do. Is remember, I can remember that being a feature, but I cannot pinpoint.
Who busted out the decks and started playing Jeff Wayne's?
Oh, is it David?
Oh, you're so close. He was
Oh,
there.
it should be David.
David was there, but David said turn it down.
Jesus, who else would do such a thing? Such a middle of the road, nonsensical thing.
Well, who else is involved in doing weird who isn't Freddie, who is involved in doing weird kind of sound effects and kind of fillers? Who was involved at the cricket, Kerry, recently? Every time someone...
Kenton!
It was Kenton in the Bull testing the new sound system.
I love Kenton for that sort of nonsense.
Yeah, he's one of my favourites. And
Yeah. He's a bit weird, that's why I like him. And a bit prickly and a bit silly.
and the fact that
Yeah.
he always calls David Dave.
Yeah, very good. So anyway, Lena Zavaroni said the site's right on the edge of the village, so users won't drive through the village. It won't be a block because it's going to blend in with the countryside. It's going to be a credit to Ambridge, a credit to the countryside. Free super fast Wi-Fi. She was like, pew, pew, pew. And then Fallon was like, yeah, but there's going to be a big, massive fucking cafe in there with Costa in it, and I don't like that because I've got a tea room that's doing really shit at the moment, and we might be making tablets in the back because it's not making any money. But
I've got this image.
iPhone,
Yes,
knockoff.
that Emma is making iPhones and like iPads out of like caramel, and then George is flogging them at college.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's right. That's the latest caramel iPad. Just push it; it'll be fine. What do you mean it's melting?
Yeah, these cups of Earl Grey that people come in with. Yeah, £2. That's not paying my fucking rent. Get them tablets made.
The other thing is, Fallon said she's been rushed off her feet. What she said? She hadn't noticed that there was going to be a cafe at the charging station because she'd been
I've been so
ridiculous.
busy. Not
Yeah.
making any money, yeah. That's because
course.
people like Jim keep coming in going, where's that poster I've put up? It's there. Look. It's like, oh, sorry, I've lost my glasses again.
Kerry, if anyone has any complaints or posters they want to put up about our podcast, where can they do it?
Please come to @the-cider-shed-pod on Twitter. It's great there. You might have some laughs if you go there. #TheArchers during the episodes and the omnibus. There's a right funny old tweet along going on there.
We have a Facebook group called The Cider Shed Podcast. You can join us there. A lot of debate kicking off there this week. TR Talk said, I think you're into something. I don't know if we're into something. Well, you don't know what we're into.
What are you into, Matthew?
You haven't seen the
What's the
WhatsApp
top
group.
thing you're into?
I think she has wrote you're into something. I think she meant to say onto something. With Harrison leaving the forest to find God, but they may have wasted that plotline on Shula. God, I hope so.
Ugh.
I can't take that.
The very mention of that name makes me go funny.
What, Shula?
Yeah.
Ian got in touch to say, I listened every night, but I could barely tell you what happened. I think Bridge Farm becomes white noise to me. Yes. One thing I was disappointed about was Kate's fire not setting light to the drill. And in brackets he wrote, I know it hasn't arrived yet.
Love that. Who wrote that?
Ian Morris.
Who?
Ian Morris.
Come on, who are you then?
Ronnie Pickering.
Who?
Ronnie Pickering.
Who?
Ronnie Pickering.
Who the f***'s that?
Yeah, me.
Love them. Please keep writing stuff, Ian.
Jess Glennie said, for 40 minutes while listening to the pod, I completely forgot that I'm down with a horrible summer cold. Thanks, Jesus and Helen. Mandy, controversial here. She says, it's so frustrating. All the men currently featured are wet big girls. I think I watched that movie after ISO Butt Plug last night. Big girls' blouses.
Big girls.
I didn't read on. Wet big
well.
girls' blouses or evil cloak wearers. I couldn't even summon up enthusiasm for Eddie. Well, neither could you, Kerry.
No. Please never summon up enthusiasm for him.
How anyone
Mm.
tolerates Helen for more than 10 minutes astounds me. I've got more in
Mhm.
common with the sea cucumber.
Yes, love that. God, our listeners are good fun.
I have to give a shout out to Nimrod Pleasure Beach,
Oh, I.
not just for
Good
the
name.
name. Yeah.
Yeah.
She said of this week's was such a good episode. This podcast makes my week, and at some point I always laugh out loud. This week it was Matthew
Oh.
quipping that Henry was on mic and the diabetes. Well, diabetes is very serious, Nimrod. I can't rate the show because I'm technically challenged, but it's absolutely hilarious. Keep it up, all of
Oh.
you. In brackets, no, not you, Mike. Poor Mike. He's gone back to Birmingham to live a life free of croissants, custard tarts, and pulled pork, or whatever it was he was doing in Ambridge. Because he came to Ambridge and just started eating people, didn't he?
Yeah, I quite liked that.
I mean, everyone's mystified as to where half the cast have gone. I think Mike ate them.
He did, and I can empathise with that. I ate a kilo of cherries yesterday and just went on Twitter and sort of went, does anything bad happen if you eat a kilo of cherries? Or anything good? And then loads of people answered. I honestly thought it was a throwaway thing. I've got so many bloody things about like you're going to shit yourself. They're really sort of good for, they've got sort of strange anti-pain element to them. Anyway, I didn't shit myself and everything's fine.
Okay, am I actually living through your cherry coma? Is that what's been happening for the last hour and 5 minutes?
Oi, cheeky boy.
Kerry, I think at this point, you calling me cheeky boy, you should read our latest review.
Oh, yes. Okay, so thank you, MJW198. I did ask Matthew if that was him, because it's MJW. And I thought, is it Matthew James Weir?
It would be remiss of me if I didn't point out at that point that I said to Kerry that my middle name was A, and it was German, and it was controversial. And for all of 2 minutes, I managed to convince Kerry that my middle name was Adolf.
Yes. I loved the fact that it might be for a moment, and then went, no, it can't be. So this is a 4-star review. So I think if Matthew had done it, he'd have given us a 5-star, to be fair. A good listen, the right side of ... I can't see the rest of the title, but always a good take on the week's happenings in and out of Ambridge. Genuinely interesting people to listen to, who get on and who get on each other's nerves.
The title is A Good Listen to the Right Side of Annoying.
Ah, good. Okay, well, what a high compliment that is.
Yeah, so I guess we must be annoying, but
Borderline annoying. Yes.
yeah, I mean, there's certainly podcasts out there that are on the wrong side of annoying.
Very much so, yes. We still listen to them for a laugh, though, don't we?
We also have an Instagram, which is the same as our Twitter account called @thecidershed_pod. You will find stories and other ridiculous things pop up there during the week. Kerry, how did your festival go?
Oh, I honestly had the best time. It was Saturday, beautiful sunshine. Feel free to look at my Instagram. It's public at Kerry Warbis for the lovely photographs of on the beach at Bexhill-on-Sea. Did you see them, Matthew? I can't remember if you did.
I did see it, and you ended the day with a lovely looking pint and fish and chips.
Yes, and mushy peas. Don't ever forget those. And it was a tiny, tiny festival, but Wise Blood, I always say Wise Blood played. And she played at Glastonbury the next day because she's massive. But it was a very intimate, beautiful festival in the sunshine. I drank many beers. I went on my own because I thought, again, I don't want to go with someone who doesn't get this music as much as I do. I can't be bothered worrying about a companion. And it was such a lovely day. How about you and your festival?
Well, mine started very late at night. I sent you a few videos, didn't I?
Yeah.
I just walked around the streets, hitting people on the head with the plastic hammer, looked at some fireworks, ate a kebab.
Hey, maybe the Ferret Fiesta Fete should have hammers, plastic hammers, and people hitting themselves.
Well, that's like whack-a-mole, isn't it?
Yeah, get on that in Ambridge.
Okay, well, are you going to call the Fete or am I?
You are. Because I'm not having anything to do.
You imagine? I'm trying to imagine Kerry, Joy, Fallon, and all of the Grundys. Because I called it last week a fate worse than meth, and I think I went too early with that. in our podcast description, which I don't think anyone ever reads. Which I try to make. I try to make some witty asides, but
You are excellent at that.
sometimes yes, sometimes no. It's proving that way. All right, Kerry, let's go and
Yeah.
disappear into our own little Friday nights.
Shall we?
Yeah, I think so. What are you going to do with the rest of your evening?
What time is it?
It's 9:45.
I'm going to go downstairs and hang out with Max, my son. Mimi's out with her girls. I haven't had any dinner yet. It's quite late, isn't it?
No, I haven't either. So that's one of the things, we have to forego dinner to make this podcast.
I know, God.
So
please
yeah.
sign up to Patreon.
Yeah, well, actually, let's just say that because last week I gave Helen a shout out, but in newcomers section, if I didn't give you a shout out already, Emily Crow, Dave Nicholson, and Mimi Robinson, thank you for becoming patrons. Like, it's a massive help to us. Really gets us through, and yeah.
That Mimi is not my daughter. It's a different.
No, and I wasn't the MJW that wrote the review either. So,
Oh, but thank you so much for listening to us, everybody. Appreciate
Yes.
your support, and see you next week. Will Lee come a cropper?
Yes, I think is the answer, isn't it?
He deserves to, really.
Poor Lee. I mean,
he lives with Helen. That's the poor Lee part.
Do you know the thing that really got me as well when he was like, "Oh, I'm going back to work," and she's like, "Have you packed your bag?" And she talks to him like he's the third child.
He needs to just go, "Fuck this. I'm off to America to be with my kids who are still quite young. I need to be close to them. Living here is chronic. Goodbye."
Okay. Ryan, if you're listening, that's your script for next week.
Yeah, love you, Ryan. Thanks for liking our tweets and that.
All right, Kerry, let's say goodbye.
Let's get out of here. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Potatoes. Boil them, mash them.
I didn't shit myself.
Stick them in a stew.
Yeah.